We're beginning this lesson with our Adjustment Layers file open. If yours is not on screen, you can find it in the Chapter 5 folder inside the Project Files folder. You may have noticed that in our Layers panel to the right of the eye icon, we actually have three separate icons. On the left is our Adjustment Layer icon. On the right is what's called the Layer Mask icon, and in between these two is a chain link. How do these elements work together? To find out, we're going to create a brand new adjustment layer. There are many ways to do this in Photoshop. Perhaps the easiest is to move to the Adjustments panel, and you can see 15 icons along 3 rows, each representing a separate type of adjustment. If you hover the mouse over an icon, its name shows up at the top of the panel. That saves you a lot of work from having to decipher what these icons mean. We're going to start with the Hue Saturation layer. It's in the second row and the second icon. By clicking, notice that we have automatically created an adjustment layer. It's towards the bottom of our Layers panel, and it's named Hue Saturation 2. I'm going to move the saturation slider fairly far to the left and desaturate this image. Now, big deal, you're saying we could have done this without an adjustment layer. But what if we wanted this desaturation effect to be applied not to the entire image, but just to a portion of the image? Well, now we need to really take a look at layer masks. In our Layers panel, we can see to the left of Hue Saturation 2 is a white layer mask icon. The thing you need to remember about layer masks is that white reveals and black conceals. Well, what's being concealed or revealed? It's our adjustment layer here on the left. Our adjustment layer is currently set to desaturate the image at a value of -65. That adjustment effect is linked via this chain link icon to a white layer mask. Because the layer mask is white over the entire frame of the image, that desaturation effect is being applied to the entire image. Watch what happens if I change the color of that layer mask. With Hue Saturation 2 highlighted in blue, and make sure you can see these 4 brackets around the layer mask icon. It's very important. If you do not see it, simply click on the layer mask icon, and I'm going to go up to the Edit menu. Edit and then Fill. And under Contents, I'm going to select Use Black and hit OK. Now you can see that our layer mask has changed from all white to completely black. Watch what happens if I toggle the visibility of this adjustment layer on and off. You can see that the image does not change at all. Why is that? Well, we still have a desaturation effect in our adjustment layer. It is linked to a layer mask, but this time the layer mask is completely black, and black blocks out the effect of that adjustment. It's as if it doesn't even exist. On its own, this might not seem very helpful, but what I would like to do in this image is desaturate part of the clouds. There's an area of these foreground clouds where the blue is really bothering me, and I'd really like to take the color out of that area while leaving the color throughout the rest of the image. We can accomplish that by painting on the mask. So what I'm going to do is go and select the brush tool in the toolbar. The shortcut for the brush tool is B. I'm going to go up to the options bar, click and make sure that my hardness is set to 0%. This gives us a nice feathered edge on the brush. At the bottom of the Tools panel, I want to go to my foreground and background colors, and I want my foreground color to be white. Right now, white is set to my background color. I'm simply going to click on this double bent arrow, and now that white chip is on top of the black one. That means we are going to be painting with white. If you're seeing another color in here altogether, I want you to move down and click on this Set Default icon to automatically set you to a white foreground and a black background. As we paint with white over this black mask, watch what happens. As soon as I start painting, you can see the areas over which I brush are now being desaturated. I'll hit this little portion in the top of the clouds, and that looks pretty good. Now notice what's happened in our Layers panel. The Hue Saturation layer mask has been updated. It's no longer a completely black mask. We've got areas of white. Those represent the brush strokes that we just made. Let's take a closer look at what's just happened. If I move over to the Channels panel, at the bottom we have a Hue Saturation 2 mask. This mask is created automatically every time we select an adjustment layer mask. And if I turn on the visibility icon here, we can see that the bulk of the image is covered with a red overlay. That represents the black area of the mask. Where I have painted, you can see the actual image color showing through. So this represents the brush strokes that we've made to create this adjustment on the mask. I'm going to toggle this preview off, go back to the Layers panel, and let's review what we've just done. We created a hue saturation layer, desaturated the entire image, then set our layer mask to black, blocking out the effect of that desaturation. We then selected a brush tool, set our foreground color to white, and painted with white over the mask. The areas over which we painted in white are now allowing the desaturation effect to show through. So it's a great way to apply localized or selective adjustments where you want to alter one part of the image without touching other parts of the image. Now I did a fairly good job of painting on here if I do say so myself, but suppose instead of painting just over the clouds, I had accidentally painted over in this sky area and desaturated some parts of the image that I didn't mean to. Well, all is not lost. Painting with white on a black mask is very easy to reverse. We simply go down to our tool panel, switch our foreground color to black, and just paint over that area again. We are painting black over that white area of the mask that was inadvertently painted. So you can get an idea of the power and flexibility that you have when you combine adjustment layers with layer masks.